Uh, you can type and tell me, okay? Otherwise, like, what is your understanding about gender and power? Like, first of all, we want to know what is your base about this gender studies and like the particular concept like gender and power. Power is something very complicated and multi-layered concept, and how you understand the concept of power in relation with gender. Nothing? No comments? Okay, our the class will be like it will be in a kind of interactive one, because we don't have much time to cover the whole textbook, and I will try to cover much important part of this textbook and the most important parts. And I'll start with the unit 2. I'll start with this concept of class and gender. And this class and gender, yeah, again, I'm asking you, what is your understanding? Like, other, like, this is a gender studies class. We can't do it as like a one-way thing. It include the experiences, and it include varieties of voices, everything. And we need to uh, we need to discuss opinions. Okay, I think only two of you are there, and I'll start with this gender and class. And like what before that, we need to know what is stratification and the social stratification in the like early period in the Europe, and how the stratification converted into class divisions. And again, we need to discuss concept of class in terms of gender, and how aspect of gender connect with this concept of class. And when we discuss about this societies and stratification, we can get some like point like oppression, hierarchies, exploitation, injustice, and inequalities. Like, these are very prevalent in every societies, and particularly in our society it is very common. And how we can like how we can understand these social realities, and how it works in a gender relation, like a gender power relation, and power and class is interconnected, and how it is interconnected. This social inequalities that start with this divisioning or categorizing people on the basis of gender, caste, class, or race, and like starting with these categorization, and it widening in the variety of aspects. And when it comes to class system, and the class is the word class is derived from this English language, and there are multiple definitions and multiple what multiple concept of classes are there, because this in we can't analyze concept of class in a universal way, because every nation, every geographical area, every society, every culture, everything depends upon the whole system. And this class also influenced by these aspects like caste, race, or our culture, our socialization, our like society, our political environment, political system, political culture, everything is influencing. And when we talk about the class and gender, we need to like there are two major thinkers we need to discuss, that is Karl Marx and Max Weber. And these two thinkers have different analysis on the class and gender, because Karl Marx don't have much say about gender, because he stressed on the class divisioning, and he don't much mentioned about gender or women or anything. Like later period, this Marxist feminist only, they took the uh, initiative to analyze the gender relation or gender power relations in terms of Marxist ideology. And these these feminist scholars are took initiative to analyze. And I think like the Karl Marx don't have much say in gender aspect, and but Max Weber, he also deals with the power, authority, how this authority works in a class society, and this class situation is how this class situation works, everything. And yeah, when we analyze the class and gender, that is different forms of inequalities are often being separated out because extremely different to try to think through how inequality may be simultaneously gendered, racial or classed. And in the traditional analysis of class, the gender taught the traditional analysis of class has ignored gender relations, and in 1960s, 70s and 80s, the most of the writers who is writing on this class relations and class hierarchies and everything, they totally ignore the aspect of gender relations, how gender works in class situation. And that is the major critical aspect of, like, that is a major critical point by the feminist scholars, and they took initiative and they analyze, like particularly from the perspective of Tigner or like so many other feminists, they took initiative to analyze gender uh, and along with class, and how we can analyze class as a analyzing unit, or how we can analyze the class as an analytic unit. How we can analyze, is there any opinion? No. Okay. In the classical class analysis, family as the unit of classifying people's class is used. Like when we classify people, the family is the basic unit of analysis. And in this analysis, we can find like very importantly, the male figure is the major unit of analysis. They taught, like the classical analysis totally ignore the aspect of women or class differences between women and men, how it is occurring within the family. And again, this unit of family as a social unit or unit of stratification. And there are so many aspect of analysis and how this uh, mm, there are some models of analysis. First one is this breadwinner model, and this, the name itself, we can say this, how this breadwinner model works. How this class is kind of a radio mode. I'm talking something and there is no reaction from you people. I think better to react or better to type something. Like otherwise, like I'm not able to know what is your understanding about all these things and what is your base and uh, things, because it's kind of very interesting and very contemporary. Like it's an ongoing thing. Like it was, like it is not a what history or like it's an ongoing thing, and we need to analyze all this like concept of class and gender in terms of regional ways also. Like even when we took an example of India, we can give multiple examples of this class and gender relation from different regions or different parts of India. Maybe that is different. And next part we want to discuss is caste and gender. That is also very interesting. And Yes, exactly. It separates women from the public space, and they reinforce the dichotomy, like public-private dichotomy. And again, this the like being in a patriarchal, male-centered society, we we know that how this family system works, and men only, like only men considered as a breadwinner of the family. There is no element of women's contribution, like even if it is a productive or reproductive work, there is no element or analysis point regarding this women's work or women's labor, and that is only discussed. The traditional way of analysis only discussing this male aspect of like labor, and how they considered as a unit of analysis, and this breadwinner model, and they took an initiative how this male breadwinner of the family consider getting how this much importance in the society, or in this much understand, like total narrative. And this female household models, and there are female headed households, and even now, even in a contemporary period, we are totally ignoring these female headed households from the policy analysis. Is it so? Like what is about from your perspective, like from your, like we are kind of a diverse society, like diverse group, and most of us are from different parts of India, and how these relations works in your region, or with your what particular place, that may be very interesting when we write our essay. Pradeep, Anisha, I think Shivanki in office, and I think he can't talk. And what about Pradeep and Anisha? First of all, what is your understanding about this gender and power? Like, I think you got an introduction from ma'am from last class. Like, uh, what is your like? If you people don't have an understanding about what is gender and uh, like power, or power concept of power, we can't like continue this whole things. No one is reacting, responding. Yeah, I'm okay. What do I'll continue as a radio. Okay, we are talking about this breadwinner model, and again we need to discuss the women's employment and in relation with the class, and how this women's employment is giving important, like getting importance in the class society. And like we know this gender inequalities and are relevant in our society, and that is very much visible in like labor market or employment aspect. And we know even still now we are facing this gender pay gap, and that is also part of this class analysis. Yeah, like w- Diditi or something, like is it correctly and pronounced? Okay, what is your understanding? No one is responding. Okay. Okay, like only husband job is valuating, and
No,
even
no,
in the.
just entered the class. Could you please ask me again the question?
Oh, okay. Question is like I need to know what is your, and like our class is kind of a very diverse class, and we all are from different regions. And now today we are discussing on gender and power, how the class, caste, and gender works. And we need to know what is your experience and understanding about class in your region, and that will be, we can write as a, like when we write an essay, it will be more helpful to write an essay very clearly with the examples of different parts.
Okay, okay.
Okay, is there any like example, particular examples from your part, or like your part of country, or like is there any kind of like
No,
input
I am
from
from
your
West
side?
Bengal. I am
Okay.
from West Bengal. So, in our west side of this state, there are some region like tribal region, which
Okay.
is socially and financially backward.
Mm,
Which is
mm, mm,
surrounding Jharkhand and West Bengal border. So,
mm,
from this region, we get a number of labor,
mm,
and there are also a unequal what I can say unequal salary or wages during the work done. So
mm.
we have always noticed that there is a gap, or what I can say imbalance, or hierarchical domination, because not only for the class, also for the caste, and which also based on gender.
Yeah, exactly. Like that is a universal thing. Like everywhere we can find this gap. Like men considered as a breadwinner of the family, and women's income
Mm.
considered as a supporting income. That is why
Mm.
women are always considered as a what reserve
Hidden
army. Like
gender.
anytime we can use them as a employee, and anytime if the company or the firm is under this financial pressure, and firstly the women employees are terminated firstly, like they are considered as a reserve army. Like we can say that as a concept related to the class and gender. And particularly when it comes to the pay gap, that is a universal thing everywhere we can find. The society considering men as a breadwinner of the family. That is why if they are getting 1,000 rupees per day, the same time same work, the women are getting maybe 500, like half of the amount, because that is a supporting income. But in the case of these women headed households, these women are heading the household, and she is the breadwinner of the family. That is not considering in the mainstream analysis. That is one of the major criticism. And this again, it comes to this division of labor at households, and how it reflected in the um, uh, class analysis. Again, we undervalue this household work. Always we value this some works, like yes, yeah, that is the nature of this patriarchal society. Even men are compelled to do this. Otherwise, they can't survive. Like when we discuss, like I think the last class ma'am was discussing this concept of masculinity, how this masculinity works, and the power structure. Like even male can't survive. Like even this so-called masculine male, like if one person is not that much uh, into these things, and even he can't survive. That much restricted and that much rigid is the system. And when it comes to the division of labor at the household, like we are like women are, or other like gender, women are sidelined by this reproductive work, and this productive work is always deal with men. I think that is also kind of a universal thing, and every society we can find this division of labor. And even gender roles are determined by this division of labor. And these what class and gender analysis is criticized by radical feminists and the Marxist feminists at same time. And the radical feminists like Kate Millett Kate Millett and Firestone, they opposed and they totally criticized the concept of power politics in relation with gender, and how they always criticize the concept of family, education, and economy. How they bring all these things in a patriarchal way. And radical feminism always attempt to highlight the women's experience by going beyond the purely economics explanation of women's oppression to include the ideology and other representations of women. And that is a major part. Like that part was ignored by other analysis, and these radical feminists took initiative to highlight the women's experience in labor market, or the classical analysis on economic explanation, the aspect of gender was totally ignored. And these radical feminists, they took initiative to analyze in a feminist perspective or women's perspective. And also there are women's movement, like women's theories, or sorry, feminist theories or movements like liberal, socialist, radical, or these feminist groups also have an important role in giving importance or highlighting this women's aspect of um, like class in terms of gender. And this particularly Marxist feminists, they argue this particularly they argued in terms of this what reserve army, like women's labor as a reserve army. And they also kind of think the materialistic aspects of this labor, and how the women's question is analyzed or discussed in the Marxist sphere. And in a class analysis, how Marx and Engels discuss the like materialistic elements of labor, and how they discuss the question of women. And these are the major theoretical aspect of class and gender. And there are also some areas of domestic mode of production, and that is deals with this um, what private public dichotomy. And there are also a cultural understanding of class and gender. Culturally, we can say, like that was why I was talking about how this culture influenced the class relation or class and gender relation. How culture, how we can understand in terms of culture. Any comments? Like there are so many criticism for this materialistic based approaches towards this employment or class analysis. And they like, later period scholars introduce some other elements of, or some other diverse approaches to analysis of class. And that is one of that approach is like cultural approach, how we can approach the like culturally, how this culture constructed the social space, how this culture constructed the whole society, and that how this power and differ from this region to region or culture to culture, and even societies to societies. Like I didn't get that. Okay, yeah, that is correct. What Shubhangi was saying, that. And this they identified like the classical analysis, or these the early analysis, they took initiative to analyze in terms of economic. And in later period we need to analyze culturally how the social capital creates and how it works in a social space. This also as a also considered as a analytical categories. Okay, these are the major things, and I'm taking this whole things a little fast because we need to discuss so many units in this paper, because we don't have much time. That is why I'm going to this another part. And the part, sorry, 1 second, I'm 1 second, I'm taking material. Okay. Okay, caste and gender, like that is very peculiar for um like hi Akshay, hi, like Devika is okay. Caste and how caste and gender, the power relation between caste and gender, or how this caste is influencing gender analysis. And we need to discuss here how we locate gender in caste, and like how caste and the control of women. And because like caste, like the caste as a system, that is very unique for Indian system, and how this through caste women are controlled, and the Brahminical patriarchy and concept of multiple patriarchies, and the caste and patriarchy, and how the caste, gender, and colonialism works, and Dalit patriarchy and Dalit feminism. And like very importantly, it's very relevant area is honor killing, caste, gender, and love. That is something very important. And yeah, again, I'm asking, um, what is your perspective about how we can locate gender in caste? Akshay, Anisha, Diditi, Devika, anyone can answer. No one. Like this is very interesting topic, and because I'm asking is like again like a class and caste is very much into in now we are experiencing this caste inequalities in ways, and we need to analyze in regional ways, and that is very different. Like what is northern part of India experiencing, or what is eastern part of west or south and middle part of India experiencing, caste is different to each other. Because how, yeah, upper caste women are privileged than that statement itself we need to discuss little bit elaboratingly. And others, actually, Anisha. Okay, I'll explain. And how this concept of caste, we can locate caste, sorry, gender in caste. Caste as an analyzing category, and analyzing category, uh, not like class, because class have a universalistic claim or explanations of inequalities in all societies in all over India. But this caste is kind of a unique case to India, and this caste is an equally powerful determinant of social hierarchy and other, like the Major overlap between class caste is high and low in both system is system of guarding tend to coverage most of the time. And this like location of gender in caste is very critical one. And that is also different in regional ways, and how the women, low caste women or upper caste women is, we can find them in a class sorry, caste analysis. And the societal structure and the caste stratification, everything is influenced. And uh, how the caste system controls women's mobility, women's movement, or uh, women's body, women, like everything. How these caste identities are controlling women. That is also a very important question in Indian context, and even now also. Like in our syllabus, there was a part like, there is a part like honor killing, and that is like in every day we are hearing one or two newses regarding this honor killing. That like even maybe that is very educated urban family, or like education or modern or urban or like any criteria is not a criteria for this honor killing or caste. And that is still happening, or still that is the most dangerous part of our caste system. And female always considered as a victims, and their body is controlled by caste, and their decision making is controlled by caste, and everything is structured under the whole hierarchical caste system. And they decide what the women want, and they took decision for women. And that is the major generalized thing regarding this caste and gender, and the linkages between caste and gender. And again we can say this, the whole analysis of narration of caste and gender, that is comes under this the very important concept, this patriarchy. We can't discuss caste as very what will say that um, caste as a one analysis factor. Like when we analyze cars, we need to analyze like a society, we need to analyze the economy, we need to analyze the polity, we need to analyze the other aspect of the whole system. And yeah, again there is a question, and how the caste control women, how caste control women. No comments? It is kind of a very important discussion point. Caste and gender, how like women are controlled by caste. Oh, I think you people have your own experiences regarding this caste. Like experience of caste and experiences of women is very diverse one, and you can discuss. No one. Okay, I'll continue. Okay, caste is defined as a endogamous group, and it is clearly means that marriage is central to the composition of caste. And again, that point is very important. Okay, marriage is central to the composition of caste. It has been pointed out that a caste derive its identity in its differences from another, and thereby lies the importance of the each caste maintaining its distinctive features, or generally transmitted for a closed descent group to emerge, persist, and expand. And this the caste is a social organization or social institution. We need to analyze the how caste reproduce the endogamy, and this how the caste reproducing this concept of prohibition on marrying outside one's own caste group. That is Yes. There are multiple examples of these class things. Even nowadays, like I don't know, we are always talking about modernity, this artificial intelligence and like advanced technologies, everything. Even still we can find, even we take an example of a metropolitan city, we'll get one or two example of honor killing, like one or two one, that is very like very small number, maybe three or five example of this honor killing. Like how this modernity, the concept of modernity and this very traditionalist caste concept, even now they are like existing together. And how, like that is very very dangerous and very one, like I wonder that how the two things are coexist. That is very important question, I think. Like even southern part of India or northern part of India, like any part of India, we can find this, how the social institution, caste as a social institution, they how they controlling women's or like whole people's body and their desire or their decision making, their choices, everything is under controlled by this caste. And you know these concepts like car panchayats and Nattukutam in Tamil Nadu. And there are these two things are very, very influential group, caste groups. And these Nattukutam, that is in southern part, like, particularly in Tamil Nadu. And they decide the whole uh, village decision making. And they choose like particular communities, like these women want to marry that man, or like which man, or like which family, like everything is decided by this karpan, like Nattukutam. And this the North Indian version of this Nattukutam is like this car panchayats. And there are lot of examples and lot of news is coming like from every part of the country. And again, if like every part of the country, these low caste women are like brutally victimizing. And they are brutally raped. And maybe they are like maybe the killing by, maybe the major saddest thing is that these killing or these incidents are take part like or uh, taking initiative by their own relatives or uncle or father or brother or something. And that is very, very pathetic atmosphere. Like even now, like we always talking about the development and everything, but still we are what we are in a very dangerous uh, society. Maybe you people have your own experiences, and not your own experiences, like you heard something from your part of the India. And this, when it comes to caste prohibitions or this total prohibition, um, the concept of jadi system, that is also very important. And these all things are connected with the concept of marriage or institution of marriage. And the while the endogamy regulate marriage for men as well as women, and the prohibits apply more to upper caste women than other group. Thus, like we need to analyze these things also. Like practice of caste endogamy, ritualized sexuality in a hierarchical ordering in within the caste system. And there are number of works and number of articles written by so many scholars regarding this, how this caste and taking particular caste, they identify particular caste, and they took research on it. And They published a lot of articles. And if we create some groups, like WhatsApp group, we I can share so many materials regarding this, all these concept. Because if you're reading this only, like if you are only reading this textbook, that is not enough for your whole exam. I think you need to read much more articles and studies. And if you people create a what WhatsApp group, I can share through WhatsApp group, okay, these materials. Like there are a lot of materials. And one other important like thing is that one important work is that gendering caste through a feminist lens by Uma Chakravarti. And she explained that the marriage, like how the marriage and caste is linked. And she also writes the ritualized form of exchange. Like marriage is, she considered marriage as a ritualized form of exchange of women. And again, yeah, please create a WhatsApp group, then I can share, like even you people can share materials, and that will be very helpful for your exam. Okay. I think like gender and caste through feminist lens and by Uma Chakravarti, and she gave very detailed explanation of marriage and how this caste affect marriage and how caste affect women. And like very simply she mentioned this, like marriage is a ritualized form of exchange of women, and how it works in a territorial thing, or like say how how it is happening in, even in contemporary society. We can see this like endogamous marriages and endogamous things. And if somebody is ready to marry a girl or boy outside their caste, like she or he like are in a trouble situation emotionally, physically. They like the whole system comes and they blame them, and they create a feeling of guilt and everything. And that is also significantly connected with the whole system of the social stratification and all. And now we can discuss the Brahminical patriarchy and concept of multiple patriarchies. And yeah, the name itself, there is some clues. Brahminical patriarchy. And what is it? Brahminical patriarchy.
The patriarchal rituals which was practiced by Brahmins or upper caste people.
Yeah, kind of. Not exactly, but it is. Yeah, this the concept of patriarchy is not a unique one. It have like multiple aspect of patriarchy, because in each caste or each class and each society have its own varieties of patriarchal systems and patriarchal experiences. And this the recent feminist scholarship, they consider Brahminical patriarchy, they connect, they link the gender and caste in terms of Brahminical patriarchy. And literally the patriarchy is a rule of the father or male member. It is often to denote the concentration of power in hands of the elder man who exercise control over the person of women or younger men. That is the whole concept of patriarchy. There will be in a home or in a society, there will be elder man, and he handled the whole power. Even he have this power, or like power to decide whatever he want, and in relation to women or younger men. Or it is also sometimes defined more widely in terms of power, that all men widely over all women. These later defined as being challenged on the grounds of class, caste, and race structure, structure fields of power in such a way that all men do not and can have the power over all women. That is a very important point, because in a patriarchal society, this one man have the more power, and that is kind of a concentration of power on one hand, and he can control anybody in the house or anybody in the society, even if it is men or women, and he can control the whole system, and he can make decisions on whole family or whole society. That is very important thing regarding this patriarchy. And this patriarchal power are institutionalized with even the modern state, and for it has a far-reaching consequences. And um, like the definition of patriarchy is also a universal thing, but it itself have a variety, like regional varieties, like Brahminical patriarchy, that is exclusively for Indians. Like what is Brahminical patriarchy? And let us discuss what is Brahminical patriarchy. And this Brahminical patriarchy, the idea of Brahminical patriarchy and posted not as one more variant of male domination, but a structure unique to Hinduism and the caste system. It refers to a system of patriarchy prescribed in Brahminical text, which were meant to be enforced by the coercive power of a king uh, or on his behalf in the land. Like Brahminical patriarchy, we can if you have some notes, you can write it. The idea of Brahminical patriarchy is posted not as one more variant of male domination, but a structure of unique to Hinduism and caste system. It referred to a system of patriarchy prescribed in Brahminical texts. That is very important part. Brahminical texts, which were meant to be enforced by the coercive power of a king or on his behalf, and they shape a set of norms and ideologies for this upper caste people, and they continuously influence the women of that particular caste. And particular, they always dealing with the sacrifices of mothers and responsibilities of wives, and how the feminine, how will be the like female should behave in a family setup. And it is also giving more importance to the family and the sexual purity of women, and the over ritualization of the things, and all control over women's sexuality, women's body. That I think even that is even now that is happening in all around the world. Like women's body kind of it's a property, and now it is property by state, owned by state. And maybe earlier it was the property by the caste, or even after marriage the women's body is considered as a property for uh, her husband. Totally the objectification of female body in every part of uh, the every part of the analysis. And this analysis was criticized by Uma Chakravarti and other other feminist scholars. And even the mobility of women are restricted by the caste. And in that case, I think Diditi was telling that um, upper caste women have more like m- more secure things than lower caste women. Yeah, that is exactly true. But in case of mobility and some other kind of things, like these lower caste women had a little more freedom of mobility, and freedom of kind of in case of their sexuality, or in case of their body. I can't say fully in terms of body, but in some terms compared to upper caste women, these lower caste women have some more freedom and some more choices. And in case of I'll tell you one example of these how these upper caste women and lower caste women, like in a Brahminical patriarchy, how it works. And I'll take an example of Kerala's Nambudiri community. That is, they belong to this Brahmin community, and this Nambudiri, we call them as Nambudiri community. And these Nambudiri women or upper caste women have this Marakuda, that means an umbrella, means she always she should always cover by this umbrella, like her face by this umbrella, and like no one can't see her, and like she have only like her mobility is on uh, totally restricted by this the patriarch of by the patriarch, and she have the only we can say the only movement of free movement of her is like going to temple or doing this temple rituals and doing this women like household work. And when it comes to low caste people and low caste women in Kerala, and they have little more mobility and little more what they can move, they can work, and they have this very social spaces, and they have friends, and they have everything, and that is why they started movement and they started questioning the system, and that they because they know the value of freedom, and they know the value of choices, and that is very important. Like the regional ways, there is some like variations of patriarchy, and how even this Brahminical patriarchy also itself works in a different way in different regions and different caste thing. And Uma Chakravarti also talking about this Brahminical patriarchy, and there is a wonderful articles by Uma Chakravarti that is named as Brahminical patriarchy. And if you people create a WhatsApp group, I'll definitely send to you that. And the Brahminical patriarchy links caste hierarchy and gender inequality in ways which remain dominant to this day and often generalized as Indian. And even that is also, we can consider this M.N. Srinivasan's Sanskritization process. Even lower caste men also try to redo this Brahminical patriarchal thing in their society, and that is also kind of a Sanskritization thing. And the other thing is that fundamental principles of Indian social organization was a closed structure, and to preserve land, women, and ritual quality within, and the ideological framework to ensure the sexual purity of upper caste women was provided by the Sri Dharma and uh, Pati Pativrata Dharma. That is also very critical. And what is this Sri Dharma? What is Anisha, Akshay? Any comment on Sri Dharma? Yeah, this is very boring because you people are not responding to the whole class. I'm talking like an a radio. I'm talking something, and I don't know you people are hearing or you are listening, or you're getting or not. I don't know anything. Like if we'll give some reactions, it is kind of just reactions. No, I think you can understand all these things. No, okay, yeah. The concept of Sri Dharma or Pativrata Dharma, that is also connected with this when a sexual purity of women and women, like again this it comes to this what virginity of women, the discussion on virginity and the discussion on Sri Dharma, and what is Sri Dharma, and what women want, like women's Dharma, what is it? That is also connected with the subordinate that is also reinforcing the subordinate nature of women, and uh, they always try to control women's sexuality within this the four walls of their house, and they are not giving this um, choices, and they glorifying the sacrifices done by this wifehood and motherhood, and that is an ideal woman, and they always connected with some religious ideals, like maybe Sita or Rama. They took these characters from literature, and they analyze in terms of these are like women should be like Sita. That is like she should follow her what dharmas, like that is she should sacrifice her total life as a wife, and she should always sit as a subordinate to like maybe house husband, and also she should be sexually pure, and that is also talk about this virginity cases. And these are all connected with the discussion on gender and caste, and I'm just concluding these concepts from this like Dalit, sorry, Brahminical patriarchy, and then we'll discuss this Dalit patriarchy and Dalit feminism. I think you have some other paper on movement, feminist movement in India or something. And in that, you have this concept of Dalit feminism. What is it? Again and again, I'm asking what is it and what is it, and you people are not responding. Any idea regarding Dalit patriarchy? No. Okay, the notion of we already had a discussion on this multiple patriarchies and how it is work in different variety of societies, and the notion of multiple patriarchy implies the existence of different kind of patriarchy in different caste groups, and in recent years will we can get an understanding about how this patriarchies work in different societies and different situations, and in general consciousness to adopt a name Dalit to replace the terms such as untouchables or low caste. Dalit means oppressed people and capture best the dynamic of struggles against inequalities. And this Dalit activist from time to time expressed the view that among these groups there are greater inequality between men and women, since the concerns of property lineages are restricted to this upper caste and class, and the control over women and the ideology of sexual purity is of a greater significance among them. And this among Dalit, men and women are equally integrated into labor process. That was I was talking about this how this lower caste women are getting opportunity to uh, getting choices, and how they getting more what choice than these upper caste women, and that is like men and women are equally integrated into labor process. That is very important aspect of this analysis. Their relationship are determined by their roles, because they both are working, and even in field or uh, both are working in the field, and among this they share the exploitation of those who profit by their labor. And feminists have pointed out that there is the that a that is not the entire picture. Even laboring Dalit households itself have the women's subordination of like women's experience as subordinated, considered as a subordinated. And Dalit women's are battle to, like, the Dalit women, they see their battles to be on many friends at intersections of caste, class, gender. And this in 1990s they came together in the Dalit Women's Federation, the national level organization that sought to highlight the specific problems of Dalit women. And uh, in that situation, the Dalit women are arguing that even in Dalit society or in Dalit system, they are experiencing patriarchy, and that is a different type of patriarchy. That is also a critical aspect of, and that is also very important aspect of this whole patriarchy discussion. And these are the major elements of gender and caste, and we already discussed the class and caste. I know it is kind of fast, and we need to complete the whole, like, as much our materials. And next one is, next important part is manifestation of power, and how we can do this manifestation of power. Like, what is notion of power, definition of power, source of power, interpersonal power, gender differentiation in power use, effect of holding power, sociological inquiry of power, and theories of power, gender, class power, power and violence, women as a recipient of power, women's struggle for power. These are all the things we need to discuss in this chapter. And yeah, only one person. Okay, yeah, what is the notion of power? The notion of power. The notion of power is kind of a very critical thing, and the power over forces of nature, power over information, power of a people, power of some groups over others. Power has been embodied in empire, global corporations, and, like, everywhere we can find the power, the concept of power. And associated with the concept of power, there is an element of force, influence, propaganda, charisma, and there are a lot of other aspects also we can see in related to power. And the participation of, like, when it comes to power, we need to discuss the participation of women in power and how women controls handling the power uh, among a society. And participation in decision making is where the women world over are worst discriminated against. Their representation in political process is and what is totally ignored. The majority of women, on an average, earn about three-fourths of the wages to that male for the same work, and both developing countries. Most of the countries, women approximately take up double the unpaid work then what the men do. The participation of women in economy, or even participation of women in politics, in science, or in literature, in academics, everywhere we can see this very wider gap between male and female uh, regarding this mm, whole notion of power. And when it comes to the definition of power, that is also when we write an essay on this notion of power, we need to write a definition of power. And in this category, like we need to analyze some more definition of power. Power is the most, its most general meaning. It is the ability to pursue or attain goals through mystery of one's environment. And stratification results from the unequal distribution of power between men and women. And the according to Max Weber conceptualized power as a form of legitimate authority derived from organizational positions that people occupy. And power is connected to authority, domination, exploitation, and is an entity that an individual or group may possess. Power, to summarize, it's a control by one person, group, or nation over the behavior and the condition of life of another. You got it, no? Power, that like we were talking about power and dimensions of power. And even in this definition, they took wide varieties of areas and combined. And according to Max Weber, conceptualization of power as a form of legitimate authority derived from organization position that people occupy. And the second sentence is power is connected to authority, domination, exploitation, and it is an entity that an individual or group may possess. Power, to summarize, it's a control by a person, group, or a nation over behavior and conditions of life of others. Got it now? What is the exact definition of power? And again, when it comes to source of power, what are the source of power? What is the source of power? Again, what are the source of power? And knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. Yeah, we can categorize a source of power as a, maybe power that is coming from rewards, coercion, legitimate, expert, or informational, like with knowledge. And there are a lot of like sources of power. Like you said, like uh, what knowledge will be a power, source of power, and likewise reward will be the source of power, coercion will be the source of power, legitimate, expert, and uh, informational, that is also interpersonal attitudes. Yes, interpersonal attitudes. Yeah, exactly. These are the major sources of power. And again, how the gender differentiation in power, gender differentiation in power, like is there any understanding about how this concept of power works on different genders? Anvesha Gagan. There is hierarchical structure of power. Yeah, there is hierarchical structure between male and female. Yeah, Gagan. Yes, between men and women. Yeah, in terms of just gender and power, we need to analyze like in different ways concept of power, because when we analyze traditionally we only have one kind of analysis, and that is kind of a coercive reward analysis of a power. And nowadays there are different dimensions of power, how like there are different practices of imposing power uh, on women in society. And even we all are like, even in a contemporary society, how this patriarchal power is imposing on women, that is a very critical question, and not critical question, that is a very very white reality. Men always have this supervising or superior knowledge expertise in particular areas, and even in decision making, and they always impose their power over women, and that is also reflected in different areas. That is comes like discrimination of women, and there are a lot of basis for power, and maybe social, economic, political, cultural. There are so many varieties of factors, and um, in here we need to analyze the effect of holding power. Effect of holding power. What is it? Effect of holding power. Any idea? Like, what are the effect of holding power? Power can bring about a feeling of being worthness. Like we are like if we are a powerful person, we can categorized as a very wealthness, or like valuable like we all are considered as a valuable person if we have power, and that is an important thing. In so many cases, when we discuss the feminist ideas and like discrimination of women in different contexts, so many men are easily get offended in when we discuss these things. That is, yes, and easily they get tensed, or they easily get offended. What is the reason? Because in the historically they are handling this power, and they are using it as a weapon or as a tool towards controlling women. And if we are discussing on equality, or we are discussing on the discriminative aspect of patriarchy, they have this other people have this fear of losing all these what privileges of these patriarchal privileges, and this holding power have kind of a privilege, and they can control the external forces and external people, and they can handle they can control their choice, others choices, and others body, others sexuality, everything they can uh, control if somebody is having power. And that is why they always try to hold their power. If whatever happened, they always hold their power because of this feeling they can control people's emotions, people's body, people's decisions, choices, everything. That is a kind of like effect of holding power. And the like we have some detailed theories regarding power, and I'm not discussing this in this class because it is kind of a very detailed one. We have elite theories and pluralist theories, and we have ruling class theory, and we have Weber's conflict theory of power, and we have Gramsci's neorealist theory of power. And yeah, again, we need to discuss the power and violence, how it is connected with power is connected with violence. Yeah, that is why I was talking to you, like if you people create a WhatsApp group, I can send all the PDFs, like short PDFs. Otherwise, if you people are not ready to read all the textbook, I can send some materials for some extra readings. These textbook are not enough to write an example. Sorry, exam. Okay, okay, that is the problem. Like please like you too, like Anvesh and Gagan, please message me through WhatsApp. I can send to you privately some materials. Okay, okay. I think my number is in that list. They okay. Yeah, Gagan, you can message me through WhatsApp. I'll send to you. Okay. Uh, like you people don't have others phone number, no, that is why. Okay, yeah, I can send. Yeah, how this power and violence are works together, it's very simple. How? Yeah, I think that is my WhatsApp number. It's already there in that, not that link thing, no, that PDF. My WhatsApp number is on that PDF. It's in there. Otherwise I'll type it here. This is my WhatsApp number. You just give me hi. I'll send some materials. Okay. Okay. Uh, how this power and violence works? How? Like earlier we were talking about this honor killing, the example of honor killing. We'll take an example of the same thing. How it is connected with power and violence. Like power is always linked with the concept of violence, or maybe if it is individual or collective level. Like if we take an example of honor killing, what is happening in that situation? Like some people holding some power, maybe that caste power or patriarchal power or economic power or political power or social power, anything, they are holding some power, and that is they are converting that power into violence towards people. Because in this case, this may be that women, maybe their sister or their daughter or their niece, or like any person, they imposing that while that power through violence, and they totally eliminating these people because of they took their decisions, or they took decision of marrying a person, he or she, from other caste. That is the major thing, and these people are imposing their power through the violence, maybe crime, or maybe what like in any kind of psychological harassment, or so many other kind of violence we can they can do. And that is happening in the honor killing case. And here we have this concept of like rape, how rape and power display, that is also kind of converting power into violence. That is like people, like men or male having their patriarchal or male power, and that is converted into like they are they always think they have that power to use that can use everywhere. That is happen in rape cases, or domestic violences, or even other kind of violences over women. That is a kind of a common thing nowadays. And how these power and this violence works together, that is a kind of very dangerous, they works very dangerously, and it is affect psychologically, or it is affect physically, psychologically, in every manner of a individual. That is very important, and these are the major varieties of power and gender. And one other important point, women struggle for power. How historically women struggled for power. That there are a lot of experiences and examples of women fought for their power, and women's struggles for power is justified from the point of view of social justice and human right. And there are, like, from 90 like later 18th century to even nowadays, they keep on fighting for their power and keep on fighting to get in equal opportunities and equal what equal position in society. And even we know that we have, like, the last 2 3 months back, our parliament passed this women reservation bill, and that is a huge struggle by a lot of women parliamentarians, and, like, even common people, common women are part of it, and they fought for it, and they won it. That is a reality. That is not a sudden process. That is a huge, like, historical process to achieve that power or that equality. And even it comes to the political power of how the women are getting political power or political position. That is also the question of representation comes. How this through the reservation, and even uh, 74th and 74th amendment have this 33% of reservation for women in local self governments. And some states, they already amended some 50 percentage of reservation for women in local self governments and urban governments. And even now this parliament have like amended the, like, passed the bill of women reservation bill, and 43, sorry, 33 percentage of reservation for women in parliament and state legislative assemblies. And these lawmaking procedures and these political actions that make women women uh, like that what put women in a powerful positions. But in a reality, that is also very much critical and very much criticized by the whole the scholarly people, because these women, like, if through this 73rd and 74th amendment, if women are getting 50% of reservation in local self government, that power is handled by the men. Or they might be their father or brother or husband, that they, through this male partner only, they are getting their power, and these are the major powerful factors in this decision making process. But nowadays it's changing a lot, and women are coming out, and they are holding power, and they're arguing for their power, and they're struggling for power. Everything is happening. That is exactly the fourth unit. And um, I try to conclude, like, with this um, third, sorry, third unit, that is gender and ethnicity, sorry, race and ethnicity. How these race and ethnicities work in relation to gender. Yeah, again, we need to discuss locating gender in context of race and ethnicity, and black feminism, women colonialism and nationalism, gender, ethnicity, Adivasi women in India. And yeah, again, Anvisha, um, how we can locate gender in the context of race or ethnicity. No idea? Like, race and ethnicity is very much important when we analyze or when we locate gender. And this locating gender in the context of race is kind of it's a very kind of natural one. And the category of race is something similar to sexual differences, and how this racial discrimination happen the whole world, and even now how it is happening in the whole world, that is a very important discussion point when it comes to this gender and like analysis of gender in the context of race and ethnicity, and how this ethnicity, race, and color and everything is a how that made as a discussion point, how they that made as a unit of vulnerability. How? Yes. Subaltern feminism, or like subaltern historiography. She talked about it. Yeah, how this race and ethnicity is what mm, connecting each other, and how we can locate the gender in this whole narratives. In the Indian context, when the relationship between race and caste at the unite, like that is kind of a debatable one, and the United Nations Conference on Racism at Durban in 2001, there was an attempt to renew the argument that the Indian caste system was a form of racism. And there are two reasons for such an equation. First is based on the caste is considered as a varna, and which is literally mean color, and is supposed to be grounded in primarily distinction between fair Aryans and dark indigenous Dravidians. Yeah, the fair Aryans means invaders, and this dark indigenous Dravidians. And again, that discussion is coming. Like in 2001, this Durban conference, they discuss what is it? Colonial hangover. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, the colonial hangover. Yeah, Indian context, they are always like not Indian context, in international context, they're always categorizing these caste system, this varna system, to this racial discrimination, because varna is considered as a color, and they always categorizing the distinction between fair, that is inviting Aryans, and dark indigenous Dravidians. And many scholars believes that their theories were floated during the colonial period by British ethnologists, and this racial superiority by these invaders or this white people, that is also a discussion part, and they criticize these part, and the Black Dravidians, these old the darker people, labeled the darker people of the southern provinces of India as the Dravidians, and none of these has been historically proven. And this randomly they are and then they are putting some argument randomly, they're putting some arguments regarding this racial discrimination, or like caste as a racial identity, and that is also kind of a what debatable point. And again, how this untouchability, like we have this apartheid system, or racial segregation in South African region, and this we have this untouchability in Hindu society. How it is similar, like untouchability in India and apartheid in South Africa, how we can connect each other. And this was a point done by, or developed by the Durban conference, and that is also like Anvisha said, like it is also a colonial concept of analyzing and stratifying things in terms of their own two aspects, white or black, or like there is only two categorization for them. And in Indian context, race and ethnicity is something very complex one, not only in the Indian context, in the all over world, the concept of the two concept of race and ethnicity is something complex and what different, we can say. And that is why we put an example of this what here we have an example of gender ethnicity, gender and ethnicity, Adivasi women. Yes, marginalized. Yeah, yes, exactly, exactly. That is, there is no regional differences for this. Like Dalit women are uh, everywhere. They are everywhere. They are what treating very badly, and they are the most vulnerable people in India, like everywhere. That is, we can't say that part is good for this people or this part is good for people. No, like I like always I wonder that how in a modern situation or modern era we overly discussing about like not discussing, overly imposing caste identities and religious identities. And what is your opinion about that, Anusha? Like nowadays we are over imposing these aspects like caste, religion. These divisions are existing, like very very dangerously existing in nowadays. Like the same time we all are we all are we all are discussing about modernity, technologies, advanced technologies. What is happening, and what is your opinion? Yeah, obviously there is a politics behind it. Obviously politics behind it. That is kind of a very, yes. Yeah, yeah, that is very important argument, Anusha. Like if we have that kind of a categorization regarding this religious identity or caste identity, they can divide people very easily. That is part of this political agenda by different political group or caste group, and we can divide people very easily on the basis of caste. That is exactly true what you said. Yeah, in all these narratives, the most vulnerable people are this Dalit Adivasi people or Adivasi women. And in India, we have kind of a very very high number of this Adivasi population. Like in different part of India, there are different kind of very indigenous people, and they are living in very what we'll say very vulnerable situation. And even nowadays we are like constitution providing a lot of reservation for them. Even still now they are not reaching up to the level. What is the reason? These the categorization is a major reason. The all these things are part of this politics, the whole nation's politics and party politics, and they're imposing these different agendas on it, and they practicing in and that practicing that in different way. And this construction of whole idea of gender and ethnicity, that is where that has started from this British period, and it is now continuingly what we can say that continually practicing the same colonial idea of ethnicity and caste and aspect of gender. We still now we are what following it. And always we discuss the primitive or backward in terms of social, economic, and political organization, which starts with the racial connotations. And this is also connected with this untouchability and purity of the whole analysis of sorry whole caste analysis. We can say this untouchables. These people are untouchables, and these the people are like considered as a not pure, because that is why They are not they are untouchables. And um, even contemporary period, these people, there is no place for this diverse ethnical or diverse racial people. Like, there is no inclusive approach for anything, and it is kind of a very very categorized, classified one approach. That is a major what drawback of whole system, we can say that. And yeah, these are the major things regarding this. And if you uh, say hi in WhatsApp, I can send some materials. And other next block, the third block, gender, state, and community. um yeah, we'll discuss in other, like, next class. And we have two more classes. We'll complete this block 3, gender, state, and community, in next class. And other, like, block 4, gender, institutions, and how this marriage, family, gender, education, gender law, gender, and work, that will discuss on um, last class. And we'll also discuss some question papers. And like, next class onwards, we'll discuss some, like, half an hour, we'll discuss some questions. Otherwise, we'll discuss some questions today itself. Is it okay, Anisha? We have for like 20 minutes. Yeah, yeah, we'll discuss some questions also. Yeah, regarding these assignments and these technical things, I think better to uh, talk with your regional center or study center. They have some idea about um, these things. Because maybe yeah, exam will be on, like, what is your means, when is your registration? Is it a June session or January session? Sorry, July session. Yeah, July say 2023. Yeah, your exam will be July 2024. And the assignment submission will be in January or February. I think that is with your regional center or study center. They can inform you. Like, maybe they can. Some they know. I means, I don't know exactly when is the dates and all. And maybe 1 second, Anisha. I'll take some question papers and we'll discuss little bit. Mm, question papers. 1 second. 1 second. I'll introduce you what kind of questions they are asking, and you'll get an understanding about how we can write an example. Sorry. exam. Okay, I got yeah. In 2021 December question papers for this MA Women's and Gender Studies, and there is a question. Discuss the relation between patriarchy, class, and caste in India. Give suitable example and support your arguments. Yeah, that is the one question. Discuss the relationship between patriarchy, class, and caste in India. Yeah, how we can discuss the relationship of caste, class, and patriarchy. That two, that is combined question with its two units. Yeah, you need to write what is this class and caste, and you can write the Indian context, class and caste context of India, and how this patriarchal thing is happening in works in Indian society. And you can also write this Brahminical patriarchy, Dalit patriarchy, and this multiple varieties of patriarchy. And this is also included in this questions. And the other question is, what is understood by the concept of masculinity? Do you think there are different types of masculinity? Explain with the help of examples. First module was in first module, I think second unit was discussed about this masculinity. There are types of masculinities, and it is kind of a direct question. There is no confusion related to this one. And again, a critic, like the whole question paper, we have this two questions, like masculinity and this um, class and gender. And the other one is from this last portion of our discussion, this like do you think the institutions of family and marriage is egalitarian in nature? Exam both from a feminist perspective. That we'll discuss in our last class, the family, marriage, and all other things. And these are the kind of like how the public private dichotomy works in debates related to public private dichotomy, exam, etc. These are the pattern of our question papers. The last class we'll discuss little bit elaborately how this things work and all. And I'll send some materials through WhatsApp, and you just give me a hi. Okay, and we'll conclude this class, today's class now, and next class we'll see. Okay. Okay, bye.